Should you get a coach? That is the question of the day. That is what I'm going to talk about. Should you get a coach? Should you get an online coach? I made this comment on George Lehman's video he posted. I think it was today. It was about online coaching, and it was a long video, 17 minutes, but it was interesting. And it was interesting to me because doing coaching, that's what I do for a living, a personal trainer, but considering, trying I think about getting into online coaching, but I just can't get my head wrapped around it. That was a comment I made. It's like, I don't know how people get online coaching. And maybe if you're a listener and you have had online coaching, I'd like to know your experience, what your thoughts are. But I'm just kind of thinking out loud right now. I'm thinking maybe it just has a lot to do with the person, obviously. That's a big part of it, the individual person and who you want to be coached by. There's two instances where I did want to get coaching. One was with Jesse Burdick, and that never turned into anything because I think I hurt my arm, had that weak arm problem last year, and it was also too far from my gym, and I have to work, have to make a living, got a family to feed. And what I did want to do is I wanted to pay for one-on-one training, which I never got to do. The other instance where I actually thought about it and considered it was when what was his name? Ben Rice was starting to offer online coaching for the first time. And it sounded like just a really great value. I like Ben Rice's philosophy a lot. Strong guy, cool dude. But I never pulled the trigger there. And one of the reasons why I didn't is that if you are going to get a coach and it's something that you are wanting to do, I think it's really important that you submit yourself to them. And that's difficult for me to do. So I'm not a very good candidate for training, simply because I like how things work, and I obsess over things a lot, and no one knows me better than me. So I don't know if anyone could really coach me specifically. You have to be the type of person that is willing to not necessarily do everything they tell you to do, but sort of converse and open yourself up. And for me, training is a very personal thing. It's a very fun thing that I enjoy. And maybe you could read into that as me just being introverted, but maybe in the future, I just feel like that I just have things that I still want to work on, stuff I still want to figure out, and I guess that's my big excuse. But let's talk about online coaching. I just can't get my head wrapped around it because it just doesn't seem like how can you help somebody? The only time I thought about doing online coaching, if you guys remember, for those of you who remember, I did some coaching calls via Skype, and I was going to do some overhead squat assessments and to see how people move, and I was trying to help people with that. And I don't know if anyone kept up with it. I didn't follow up with anybody. I followed up like a few times, and then I just stopped. And I guess that's what coaching would be. I don't know what people would pay for that. I guess it sort of doesn't matter a ton because it's not something that I really enjoyed. Doing the follow-up anyway. I love doing the coaching, but then actually helping people, I don't get to see progress. So just trying to figure out like if that's even viable. The only time I can really think about online coaching to work is if you recorded every lift you did, and I can see how you move, and I would be able to analyze your photo based on your workout. So that would be something that would be interesting to me. I guess that's the other reason why I kind of wanted to get Ben Rice. I just never did, but with Ben Rice, he was offering that as part of his coaching service at the time. And I don't even know if I would want to do that, like a weekly basis. The truth is, I guess it just isn't worth it. At least not right now. Maybe in the future. But share your thoughts with me if you have any thoughts about it. I think the one thing why I don't like online coaching is because they just can't see everything you're doing, and that's really important. You got to see what nuances you make and movements, compensation patterns, issues, and that's sort of how I train people. I don't really give people numbers to lift, and I don't really give necessarily programming. So if you need programming, usually would go to somebody else. I typically work for a special case, which is injury, usually. That's typically what it's for. That's what I do. And I can do nutrition too, like all the people that do macro coaching and nutrition coaching. The only time I guess, with bodybuilding, for example, that's something where I've thought about where coaching is sort of important, because in that way you can essentially eliminate that part and you just follow someone's directions. Think about, I've heard numerous people like Dan Green, when he was prepping for his world record meet, I think the second world record he was attempting, I think it was for world record total. I think he got dieting advice from Stan Efferding, and he just followed the advice. He just followed the program to the T, And I'm not that kind of an athlete. In fact, I'm just a recreational athlete, not like a pro athlete. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Kind of, again, thinking out loud. I do know that I want to write a book or write a kind of an online program or video course. That's sort of something of my interest as far as making money on the internet, something that can help a lot of people out there. That's like a ton of value. But as far as one-on-one coaching is concerned, if there's someone out there you think that can help you online, I think it's going to be always going to be worth it, because a lot of the time when people come to get training, it's not necessarily really about having the best coach. It's really about having someone that you believe, because that's really what most of it is. It's belief and trust and following directions. Because if you don't, you're not going to get the results you want. You're not going to get what you want out of the training or out of the coaching. So I guess my main thing to really kind of wrap this conversation piece up is like, people that come to me for training, people that I coach on a regular basis, need guidance and they need motivation most of the time. And, if you're thinking about getting a trainer, you're going to probably do well because you went out of your way to spend the money and spend the time to make you work out. If you're watching this video, there's a good chance you're probably not one of those people. If you're new, though, if you're a kid or someone who has really bad mobility or bad form, you probably need some live coaching, not online coaching. You need someone to help you with your movement. I've had some few videos people send me, and sometimes really what they need is they need someone to help them move better. And that's not something that you can, I suppose I can do that online, but some people they need guidance from somebody else, and it takes time. I've had people that are like, they're totally new to everything, and I have to go through different approaches. This one lady, she's 65 years old. She wants to do a pull-up, and she has no overhead flexibility. So I can't have her I can get her jacked, I guess, build her lats and pulling muscles, to get to her goal. But if she can't get her hands above her head, if she has no passive range of motion with shoulder flexion, doing a pull-up is going to hurt. It's going to give her problems. So especially for her age. So there's a lot of small considerations or big considerations really that put people at risk for injury. And if you don't have someone that's educated or experienced, I guess in general, if you're looking for a trainer, I really think that the younger the coach, the older the coach, the better. Someone that's been doing it for a while, someone that can actually teach you something and really, or someone that's been around the block in coaching and guidance. A lot of the younger guys, or at least in my opinion anyway, because I'm old in the training anyway, is that you go to someone that's younger. You go into them because they have a lot of energy and they have a lot of excitement, and they're infectious, and that's also a good characteristic too. There's nothing wrong with that, because a lot of times, we just need some good energy to help push us to that next level. And you know what? It's not always the easiest thing, so to find someone that actually motivates you. I'm not exactly the most motivating person in the world when it comes to training. I'm very knowledgeable, I'm very skilled, I'm very good at teaching, but some people just don't jive with me very well, and that's totally fine. And how do I know this? They don't train with me anymore. They just stop training, and that's totally okay too. So you got to find the right fit for what you're looking for. One of the comments I got back on that George Lehman comment that I put on his video, one of the guys said some people just can't afford in-person training. And if you can't afford a wife, you get a online wife, being an asshole, of course. But just realistically, the online coaching is for someone that is very highly skilled. That's just what it comes down to. You have to be someone that is an athlete, someone that is very skilled, that knows what they're doing already, and you need guidance, but you're usually mostly programming. That's what not most people need. That's what the people that get online coaching is for. Maybe you need diet advice, that could help. The fact that you're getting diet coaching from someone that you revere online, someone that you trust, and someone that you're a fan of, a YouTuber, Instagram, or whatever, or online coach even. There's some legitimate online coaches that know what they're doing. One of the guys that I know that does online coaching is Mike Maller, and I love his stuff. I would consider getting coaching from him, So I guess it really just comes down to the person. This video was initially only supposed to be like 6 or 7 minutes. I was going to split it up in two, but it's going much longer, so I'm just going to keep talking. This video is actually a part also you saw earlier. I was doing a stretch exercise. I also posted it earlier, but it was like 30 seconds long. This was actually me trying to stretch out my forearms and strengthen my forearm extensors, so that way I can get better wrist flexibility for a front rack and overhead squat and snatch. Some other things too, kind of related to online coaching, that I wanted to mention in this video also, which I didn't get a chance to talk about, was like you see me and Nas bullshitting there, and we're just talking, and we're talking about Olympic lifting. None of us are experts. We just like doing it. It's a hobby as part of the fitness that we're kind of getting into, and we just like talking about it. It's fun. We're terrible at it, but we're enjoying the process. Maybe it's something that I'll take seriously, he'll take seriously in the future. Maybe we won't. I really would love to get back to powerlifting eventually. But I mean, everyone is in a different place, in a different spot in their life. And, like we got this podcast coming out, the Think About It podcast, thinkaboutitpodcast.com. And you sign up for updates in case you want to find out when we launch, if you're a podcast listener, is that we have conversations about fitness, conversations about, Game of Thrones and Ex Machina and Sense8 and being a millionaire. We just have a bunch of random things we talk about, which we're going to publish. And it's really a lot of fun, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour conversation. So if you have a long commute and you're looking forward to a good podcast to listen to, it's definitely something that you might want to check out when we do launch in August. But, hanging out with Nas and making these podcasts, working out at the gym, and coaching other people, and again, going back to, I'm going on a tangent now, going back to online coaching again, is that, I guess, like George Lehman in his video was talking about how it was, some people spend a lot of money for you to they make you spend a lot of money to make a change in a program or to make change in your macros. And that's what you pay for. And it costs a lot of money, but you're willing to pay for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, a lot of the time, if you buy something that's cheap, you're going to expect cheap results. And if you buy something that's expensive, you're going to get better results. I mean, that's not always the case. But humans are irrational creatures. We do things for all sorts of reasons. Like a lot of us have to have Olympic lifting shoes that match our belt, and we need to make sure it matches our wrist straps, and and we'll spend $30 more for a different color of clothing or belt or whatever, just so that we can make it look nice, and we're willing to pay that premium. That's what personal training is. It's a service. And that's what it is. And I think that's totally okay. It's my job. If you're against personal training, well, think about this. You're getting personal training right now and it's free, and you're seeking out the information and you deserve it. So like you're listening to me, you watch other people on YouTube to learn different things. And, that's kind of the whole process of it. Some people don't want to do that. They hate doing it. They want it to be given to them. They want to pay someone to give it to them. And that's all right. Some other things that happened in this video was, this guy asked me why I wasn't squatting anymore. And it's because I said I was injured. He asked me if I powerlifted. That was that one guy I was just talking to me earlier. You see me here doing some Klokov presses. I did some reverse shrugs, so that I can work on my overhead strengthening. And that's pretty much what most of this video was. So if you're at this point, I appreciate you listening for the entire 13, almost 14 minutes now. If you have a comment or question, I promise you I will answer it, because you got this far. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.